All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started here. We may have a few more people joining in, but thank you guys so much for joining us today for this webinar about leveraging email marketing to increase customer LTV. I'm Chloe Fisher. I'll be your host for today, and I'll be introducing our other speakers shortly. Just as we go through today's webinar, please know there is chat functionality, so all attendees are muted automatically. That's to avoid any strange background noise in an airport or anything like that that we sometimes see on these webinars. But please feel free to drop questions in the chat throughout the webinar. We will have time at the end for a Q&A. Following this session, we will send a follow-up email with the recording of today's webinar, as well as Clyde's post-purchase playbook for email marketing. So that being said, I'll go ahead and just jump right in. So really for today's agenda, we're going to walk through a few things. I'll introduce our speakers first. We'll talk about the Clyde Enclave integration. We'll talk about how you can strengthen your ownership funnel. Ash from SmartSites is going to share some real stories of client success with Klaviyo. And then, as I mentioned, we will have some time at the end for a Q&A. So that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. I'm Chloe Fisher. I'm our Director of Agency Partnerships here at Clyde. I've been with the Clyde team a little over a year. Also joining us today, we have Ash Ismailovski from SmartSites. She is their conversion rate optimization operations manager. Hi, Ash. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad you're here. Also joining us, we have the one of the amazing product managers that we have here at Clyde, who actually led the team that developed this integration, Matt Schultheiss. Matt, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. So you'll be hearing more from Ash and Matt throughout today's presentation, but quickly, I'll just go ahead and tee up what Clyde is, what we do in the context of this Klaviyo integration. So Clyde is an ownership enrichment platform that helps brands drive customer lifetime value by deepening customer relationships after purchase. So with extended warranty, registration, and Claims Plus, you can own the post-purchase journey for both D2C and retail channels. So with Clyde, brands of every size can create seamless experiences that let customers easily buy the right product protection, register the products they bought through those retail channels, and get their product-related issues resolved fast. Clyde covers the entire post-purchase journey with moments that generate profitable revenue and meaningful customer insights, so you can protect your investments in customer acquisition and grow your business at the same time. So we've seen a few trends in market that relate to the topic of long-term customer relationships. The first trend that we've seen here at Clyde is that people aren't just buying products anymore. They're building identities with their purchases. Millennials and Gen Z especially are spending more money on products and really want to interact with those brands. So they often spend a lot of time and effort considering their options before they buy. And when they are spending their money, they want to be sure it's on things that actually reflect who they are. The second trend that we're seeing is that customers want authentic connections with the brands that they buy from. So a lot of people who have bought from a brand don't want another marketing email. They want offers and emails that are relevant to their new status as a product owner and not just a shopper. This can come in the form of things like membership programs, classes, replacement consumables, etc. The third trend that we're noticing, and I think we're all seeing this, is that supply chain constraints are driving innovation and customer support. So it's harder and costlier than it's ever been to resolve issues simply by replacing products one-to-one. Because COVID-19 has strapped supply chains and created bottlenecks, replacing a part, offering a similar item, or even sending a voucher or gift card are alternatives, but figuring out how to implement those and still make the customer happy is really tricky. It's a different motion than support teams and customers are used to. So what we're seeing here is that these trends are leading brands to get creative about new ways to drive customer lifetime value. And driving customer lifetime value ultimately means that you need to own the post-purchase experience so that you can protect the customer relationships that you've invested heavily in. There are 3 steps we see here at Clyde to owning the experience for your brand. You need to first connect meaningfully with customers as long as they own the product. Second, build direct relationships with third-party buyers. And third, make every customer support issue a positive experience. That's where Clyde comes in. Clyde helps brands deepen customer relationships and drive lifetime value through extended warranties, registrations, and an efficient claims process. With extended warranty, brands are able to build trust and drive high margin revenue. With registration, they reclaim and retarget third-party customers as D2C audiences. And with Claims Plus, they expedite positive resolutions for product-related issues. With Clyde, brands of every size can create those seamless experiences that let customers easily buy the right product protection, register those products, and get their product-related issues resolved in almost no time. So Clyde is going to cover the entire post-purchase journey and generate that profitable revenue and also grow that investment in the entire customer life cycle. So the entire ownership experience that a customer is going to have. And that's really why we set out to build this integration that we have today with Klaviyo. So I actually want to go ahead and turn things over to Matt so that Matt can introduce us to a little bit more about that Clyde and Klaviyo integration. Matt, do you want to take it away?
Absolutely, Chloe. Thank you. So I'll go ahead and show everyone a preview of what the Klaviyo integration does. So when you are a Clyde customer and you offer Clyde protection to your customers, you have the opportunity to turn on your Klaviyo integration by copying and pasting your public API key into the Clyde merchant dashboard. Once you've done that, we'll automatically capture any orders that were eligible for a protection plan so that you can reach back out to those customers and give them the opportunity to add protection to their purchase. That drives extra revenue for you, more trust for the customer, and all can be done in automated fashion through Klaviyo's flows functionality. So you'll notice in this flow, we see a new order come through that was eligible for a protection plan. And then you can send a customized email to that customer with a link specifically to add protection plan to that order with that specific product. So it removes all the friction in the process of adding a protection plan. And finally, you also will receive an event as a Klaviyo user of when that protection, if the customer bought that protection plan, to basically exit them from the flow. So you're not bothering them with additional calls to buy that protection. That's on our extended warranty product. But on our product registration product, we also have the ability to implement those customers into your email marketing flows and the conversations you're having with your customers. So after a customer registers, you can send them a standard email response about registering a product, maybe collect some product feedback, and also maybe offer some complementary products to what they've already purchased and registered in their product registration. That's a quick overview. Thanks, Chloe.
Thanks so much, Matt, for walking us through that. Go ahead and pop back up my screen here. Can I get a thumbs up? Can people see my screen? All right, perfect. All right, Matt, did you want to talk through these slides as well?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Yeah, so the Klaviyo integration really allows you to make sure that you're capturing all of your customers, moments throughout that post-purchase journey. And you can go to the next slide here, Chloe. If you wanted to talk through this cycle, I'm happy to pass it over to you on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to take this. Really what I think is important here is for our brands who are selling in a variety of fashions, D2C, maybe they're selling through big box retailers like Target or even through third-party marketplaces like Amazon. They want to be able to collect and capture that customer data that otherwise would have been lost during the third-party sale. So really what we're helping our merchants to do is not just retain and own that customer data that they've acquired during a direct sale, but also the data that they otherwise would have lost during a third-party sale so that they can own that second purchase, that third purchase and beyond, even drive those direct sales, but also interact more closely with that end customer and make them feel like they're part of that brand ownership experience. All right, so we did go ahead and see it live. I think I got my slides out of order here. Sorry about that, Matt. That being said, I'll go ahead and hand things over to Ash with SmartSites to tell us a little bit more about SmartSites and also talk to us about email marketing.
Sure thing. Thanks, Chloe. And thanks again, Matt, for walking us through the new integration. I know that was something that a lot of agencies like SmartSites were really excited about when it was first announced. So super cool to see that in action. For this next segment, I'll be taking you through how agencies currently leverage email marketing to increase customer lifetime value and how our strategies can be improved with the recent integration between Clyde and Klaviyo. So First, I wanted to give you a little bit of a better overview of SmartSites. We are a digital marketing agency based in Paramus, New Jersey, although we have offices and team members all over the world. If you've searched for the term digital marketing agency, you've probably seen us. A little bit of a humble brag here, but we're on basically every top agency list that you can find out there. We specialize in services such as website design and development, search engine optimization, pay-per-click advertising, and of course, email marketing, which is what brings us here today. So as an expert in the field, we're going to be showing some of the real world client examples that we have from our current clients who are with us for email marketing services to help illustrate the value add that these services have for e-commerce brands. So before I get into all that, I wanted to briefly touch upon our relationship with both Clyde and Klaviyo. So in this first slide here, I'll go over our relationship with Clyde. Now, I was personally introduced to Clyde a little over a year ago now, as we became one of their early adopting agency partners. And what's really unique about an agency's relationship with a tech partner is that not only are our clients given a great tool to work with, but we have the capabilities to offer the services needed to drive marketing strategies around a platform like Clyde. So in the case of email marketing, our clients can depend on us not only for your day-to-day activities, your campaigns, your automations, your list growth integrations, but also to optimize how platforms like Clyde are integrated into their marketing plan in order to generate better results. Now, of course, on the other side of this integration is Klaviyo, who we know is one of the leading email service providers out there. And in this slide, I'll go over our relationship with them as well. SmartSites is also a Klaviyo agency partner, and I'm personally certified in Klaviyo as well. And to be honest, it quickly became one of my favorite email platforms to work in because of the ownership it gives my clients over their customer data. This is actually one of the reasons Klaviyo has been so successful, and that's because of how intuitive their platform is with the visibility it gives brands into their entire funnel. Let me put it this way. If you're a scaling e-commerce brand and you sign up for Klaviyo tomorrow, you will probably see a return on your investment. That's just the nature of it. But the added benefit we offer from an agency perspective is to go above and beyond that initial setup and work to continuously monitor and improve results for our clients. And this is really where brands gain the ability to increase their customer lifetime value. We find that clients are actually seeing a 9 times higher return on their investment when working with an agency partner, as opposed to taking on the work on their own with this platform. Probably asking yourself, how do you do that? And on this next slide, I will explain to you how. It all starts with understanding the customer lifecycle. When brands focus on enhancing the whole customer journey, you can deliver a more memorable experience for your customers, which leads to repeat purchases, more positive reviews, and ultimately new customers through referrals. With this in mind, we can apply this approach to our email marketing strategy. What I see most often is that brands will start and stop with that first conversion. They spend all this money to acquire the customer through either organic or paid channels. They make the initial sale and they think, job well done. Well, what they're neglecting here is everything that happens post-purchase. After you make a sale, you not only have an opportunity to leverage that into a 5-star review online if it's a positive experience, but you gain the ability to retain your hard-earned customers and reconvert them. By building brand loyalty through sending emails with discounts off their next purchase or special incentives or rewards, this will keep customers coming back for a second and third purchase. Automation will also allow you to deliver these messages at the right time to each individual customer, depending on their behaviors and purchase history. This is done through things like cross-sell flows or subscription reminders. And ultimately what you end up with here is an ecosystem of high intent, qualified leads and customers that you can continue to market to time and time again. At SmartSites, we've taken this understanding of the customer lifecycle and applied it to a number of brands across different industries, all with the same goal in mind, and that is to increase customer lifetime value. So today I'm going to highlight 2 client success stories and tell you a little bit about how SmartSites help them achieve their business goals. First, we have the brand Clyde Holdy. They are a Shopify brand that specializes in custom drink koozies for weddings and other large events. They originally came to SmartSites for SEO and PPC services, and we saw really great results. If you think that the numbers that you're seeing on the screen are impressive, you should see their metrics for paid and organic channels. And so we were seeing this really great performance for our top of funnel approaches, but we were looking for other opportunities to generate more repeat purchases and new customer referrals. So what we did with them was first establish our opportunities. With events like weddings, you may not have someone who needs to purchase more than once in their lives, or at least that's, I guess, the optimistic view of it all. But what you do have is opportunities for referrals. And so our main focus was on driving current customers to leave reviews online, refer a friend, and overall just focus on creating these brand ambassadors that will spread the word of how great the business is. So there were a few ways we did this, and I'll illustrate this on our next slide here. First, we secure that initial sale. For this brand, we used a multifaceted approach to preventing abandoned carts, where users were shown an offer on site before they actually navigated away from the page, but also hit again later via email if that didn't work. Once we had that initial conversion and they were within our ecosystem, we made sure that anytime the customer interacted with the brand again, there was another touch point. One example of this was a browse abandonment. So anytime they're on the site looking at products but they don't add to cart, we hit them with a, hey, see anything you like, need help? Just to kind of reestablish that connection there. And then finally, we work on creating the brand ambassadors that I mentioned earlier, who will advocate and recommend the brand to friends and family. An example that I have up on the screen here is a post-purchase email we sent to generate online reviews on key platforms. And so with a brand where it may be difficult to drive those repeat purchases, you have customers who end up generating new leads for your brand by sharing their positive experiences or referring someone that they know. And in the case of Clyde Holdy, these strategies resulted in an increase in both revenue and site traffic driven by email marketing. If we switch to the next slide here, I'll show you another client example we have who is R&Y AC Compressors. R&Y is a Magento 2 merchant who specializes in automotive air conditioning parts, so very different from the previous company I just shared. They've been with SmartSites for a really long time, many, many years, and they've taken advantage of our full suite of services, website development, SEO, PPC, everything. They faced a similar issue to what Clyde Holdy did, where they were having good results. Site traffic was going up, they were making sales, but we were looking for a way to increase customer lifetime value. One of the first things we did with this brand was to establish customer segments. And in their case, it was based on make and model for their cars, based on previous purchases. And we also added engaged segments to see where customers were dropping off along the way. This allowed us to make tailored cross-sell recommendations to our subscribers and resulted in a boost to our overall conversion rate, as well as ultimately ended up giving this client a much better return on their all-in spend. And so using a similar approach to what we did for Clyde Holdy, we created a strategy to convert, retain, and grow within the R&Y compressors audience. And on this next slide, I'll show you how we did that. So first, you've secured that first conversion, and you got the customers to subscribe to emails. Now your focus becomes, okay, how do we get this customer to reconvert? For this case, we created a loyalty program based on the number of times purchased. So after the second purchase, the customer was alerted that, hey, they qualified to join the program and received incentives to push them forward into the different tiers by making additional purchases. For this brand, we also were working to re-engage customers who haven't interacted with the business in a while. This is either hasn't opened an email, hasn't clicked something, hasn't made a purchase, or been on the site. And we did this through what's called a sunset flow, where we made one final effort to get the lead engaged. And if they didn't interact with that message, they were suppressed with Enclave. And what that did was actually act as a form of list cleaning so that we can make sure that our database is one of highly engaged subscribers who are looking to interact with the brand. And as a part of the last component that you see here, we also made sure to thank and acknowledge all of the customers who did make a purchase and offer an incentive in exchange for their online testimonials. And so even though this particular brand does have the potential to drive repeat purchases, and we take advantage of that through cross-sells or upsells or post-purchase, we also want to take the opportunity to create brand ambassadors wherever we can. And so to just sum up here, let's talk about where the Clyde and Klaviyo integration fits into all this. Merchants using Klaviyo can still find success using any of the strategies that I mentioned here. But if you have a product that would be a good fit for an extended warranty through Clyde, you're able to extend that post-purchase relationship you have with your customer. And as Matt showed, you can do so by driving post-purchase transactions for extended warranties or notifying your customer that their enrollment was accepted. You also can make sure that you turn any potential negative customer experience, like a return or a warranty claim, into a positive one. And this is also super essential for creating these long-term relationships. Overall, I hope that gave you guys some better insights to paint a broader picture into how agencies are helping our clients increase customer lifetime value. And with that being said, I will hand it back to Chloe to close us out.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ash. I think that was hugely beneficial. I love both of these examples, and I also love that they're sort of in very opposite verticals, but they're both still benefiting really heavily from this. Ash, before we hand it over to our attendees for their Q&A, I just have a question for you about your clients who are using Klaviyo. I'm curious what some of the broader insights are that you see.
Sure. It definitely will vary industry to industry, but there are some general best practices that we see are pretty applicable for everybody. Number one, you're going to want to set up a welcome series. That's what really puts your customers on the path to purchasing if they haven't already converted. So the way that this works is a user subscribes and they're hit with an email that either has an incentive. So if you're incentivizing signups, it would be here's your $5 off, or just generally welcomes them to the brand. That flow will also kind of educate them on what the merchant does, what they have to offer. And like I said, just kind of push them further down the funnel. Another really good one is list segmentation, which you heard me mention with R and Y. This helps to drive more relevant and effective content towards different groups of your database based on behaviors, purchase history, preferences, things like that. Loyalties and referrals are another one. So always wanting to incentivize that next sale, even if you can't get it from a current client or customer, try and get it from someone that they know. So offering some sort of rewards in order to have either online reviews or refer a friend. You can also drive cross sells, another big one. So that would be in the case of maybe a product that requires batteries, you can actually drive this on the website where it's, hey, don't forget your batteries, we sell them. That's a very simplified example, but you can also drive that post-purchase. Hey, we've noticed you purchased product A, we think product B would be a great complement. Or maybe you have some new launches that came out months down the line that are similar. You can push that content towards the right people. And one of the newer things that we're seeing with merchants is the ability to not lose customers because an item is out of stock. This is going to be most relevant to Shopify and BigCommerce merchants who are using Klaviyo because they have actually enabled an out of stock flow where, or rather a back in stock flow, where a customer can sign up to be notified when an item that they've been looking at comes back in stock. So even though you might have lost the initial sale where you don't have the item at the time, you can ultimately win them back, we find, with an effective back in stock flow as well. So I think those would be my big ones.
Awesome. I personally, as someone who spends probably too much money online, am a huge fan of those back in stock flows, Ash. I think to your point, it's a great way for merchants not only to retain that customer that they otherwise could have lost to a competitor, but also then to capture that customer, that shopper's email. So love that. Love those insights. And that being said, I'll go ahead and open up the chat here from our audience. If anyone has questions, feel free to drop those into our chat. Let's see, while we wait for those questions to come in, any questions, Ash, from you? Matt, any questions from you?
Yeah, if I may, I'd love to throw a couple questions back your way. I know as an agency, one of the things that helps me pitch Clyde to my clients is knowing who might be an ideal fit. So if you can maybe dive into that a little bit deeper as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And thank you so much for asking. In terms of what makes someone a fit for Clyde, generally, we're looking for a couple things. The first is, are they actually eligible for something like extended warranties if we're trying to sell them extended warranties? Now, that being said, products like registration, for example, can be sold on their own outside of extended warranty. So when we're looking at warranty specifically, we're looking for products that generally have some sort of electricity running through them, or might be battery powered, things like major household appliances. Consumer electronics tends to be a huge vertical for us, connected fitness, furniture, mattresses. Again, those high ticket value items, scooters, bikes, e-bikes, e-scooters. The thing that I always like to preface this with is we are not the people who have been trying to contact you about your car's extended warranty. That is not Clyde, and it never will be.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in terms of, certain items in apparel, there are some items we can cover. We do tend to avoid clothing. However, things like jewelry, optical, watches are all really terrific fits. So typically, if we're thinking about those items that a lot of times a customer might use something like a buy now, pay later technology, a higher ticket value item, those are generally the same kind of items that they're going to insure. And what we actually see with the generations who are purchasing online, so primarily millennials and Gen Z, is that they're incredibly likely to purchase product protection. So there was a great study that came out last year by Assurant that showed that only 8% of millennials and Gen Z are not open to purchasing an extended warranty on a product. Now, if we look at a generation like boomers, that figure skyrockets to about 49%. So when we're looking at the generations who are spending their money online, we're also seeing a trend that we're sort of moving away from that negative connotation that warranty used to have, sort of into this next evolution of it actually being a service for customers, which is obviously really important. Now, when it gets into registration, there might be products that we traditionally can't cover on the warranty side, but we can cover in registration. So again, if you're selling a product that an end customer would want to interact with your brand, which I think is most merchants today, right? We all want that user-generated content. We all want our end customers to engage, interact, and love our products. Certainly registration could be an option for you. And then with our Claims Plus flow, that's really helping merchants to automate the entire experience. So if they're utilizing other tools in the Clyde tech stack, it can be a great opportunity to automate the entire process and reduce that snail mail paper trail.
Awesome. And while we're waiting for some more questions to filter in, Matt, I'm going to kick something back to you as well, because I know this is going to be a question that my clients ask me. When you think of the barriers to entry in terms of a new integration, I think about two things, which is ease of setup and cost. And so would you mind talking a little bit more through if there's any costs associated with this new integration for existing Klaviyo accounts and how easy it really is to set up?
Yeah, of course, Ash. So the Klaviyo integration is really quite simple, just pasting in your Klaviyo public key into your Clyde merchant dashboard. And as far as getting a Clyde merchant dashboard account set up, if you have a popular e-commerce platform like Shopify, BigCommerce, SFCC, or Magento, it's as simple as using our out-of-the-box integration that syncs your products and your orders to the Clyde platform that gives you that capability of detecting an eligible order. And we find that those integrations take a matter of days. Some of our merchants can even do it in a single day. And so in terms of the setup steps, we make it as easy as possible.
Very cool.
Awesome. Thanks so much. All right. Any questions from the audience? Let's see here. Doesn't look like we've had anything else filter in at this point. One question that we did get when we were chatting with the SmartSites team ahead of this call is what kinds of merchants are using the Clyde and Klaviyo integration today? We don't have any companies that we can share names of who are using that integration today, but to give you a feeling of the types of merchants and the verticals where they're seeing the benefit. Connected fitness companies. We've got a major mattress brand who sells D2C. Another notable company who skyrocketed sales during COVID because they're in the bidet space. I think certainly we can probably piece together who that might be. But there are a number of merchants today who are using this integration. Generally, they're merchants who are already using Clyde and Klaviyo. If you've got a merchant who's using one, or if you are a merchant who's using one but not necessarily using the other, could be a great time to assess the needs. All right, see some questions filtering in here. So Ashley asks, how important would you say the subject line or the frequency of emails is for email marketing? Ash, I'll let you take that one.
Sure. I would say it's highly important, first off, but I would also stress the importance of performing your own A/B tests and letting your data be your guide. In terms of frequency, maybe the number one question that I get asked is, should I send emails at 10 a.m. on Tuesdays? And that's not always a yes answer. The answer is, well, let's see what the data tells us. And so when you're looking for either a certain branded message or frequency that resonates the most with your audiences, it's going to take some trial testing to figure that out. Usually the first month of any email marketing strategy is reserved for kind of this testing. You do continuous A/B testing throughout the experience with the brand, but you try and take that first month to establish how these customers and or clients want to be communicated with and kind of go from there. So definitely very, very important to get right, but let your data be your guide.
Terrific. All right, let's see. Next question, where could I find that study by Assurant? That's a great question, Justin. I believe it's available online. Our marketing team is here on the call, so I'm hoping potentially one of them can drop it into this chat here. If not, we'll be sure to include it in our email follow-up. Let's see. I have a wide suite of products that I'm selling. Does Clyde have flexibility around what products can be covered? Yes, absolutely, we do. So in terms of the types of products that you're selling, it's not uncommon for merchants who are leveraging a technology like Clyde to have some products that are eligible for warranty in a catalog and some products that aren't. That being said, we have an entire warranty program team here at Clyde who works incredibly hard to help build out custom programs for our merchants. So if you're a merchant and you're wondering if you sell products that are eligible for Clyde, go ahead and reach out, give us a call, and we're happy to sit down with you, help you understand what portions of your catalog we can cover. And if there are things that are maybe a bit of a gray area, we'll be happy to look and see if there's a program that we can build for you. All right, Mike asks, Clyde Enclave, is it just email? Can and should SMS be used too? Matt, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can use the SMS action within Klaviyo's flow builder. So you definitely can use the integration with SMS.
Awesome. Cool. All right, everyone, I think that's all the questions that we have here. We'll hang on for just another minute to see if any other questions flow in. I do want to remind everyone that we will be following up after this webinar with a copy of the recording, and we will also include Clyde's post-purchase playbook for email marketing that should give some helpful tips. In addition to that, we'll be sure to make this recording available for you guys. And if there's anything else you need, you can scan our QR codes here on the screen. These connect to our LinkedIns. Please don't hesitate to reach out and message us. I know we're all happy to nerd out about integrations, and especially on email marketing at any time. Ash, thank you so much for sharing your big, beautiful email marketing brain with us. We so appreciate your insights. And Matt, thank you so much for sharing an in-depth product knowledge with us today as well. Really, really appreciate you guys both tuning in and joining us. All right, thanks everyone for joining.